big day here. This horizontal drill program is going to be very important to us.
Yeah.
A place where no human had stepped for more than 220 years. No light, no sound. Only cold water, damp earth, and a silence that had buried its secrets for generations. When Rick Lagina stood before an ancient wooden hatch on Oak Island, the entire excavation team fell silent. The cameras kept recording, but no one spoke. Everyone sensed the same thing. What lay beneath that hatch had the potential to change history forever. This was no ordinary door. Carbon dating revealed that the wood dated back to the early 1800s, meaning someone had deliberately sealed it more than 2 centuries ago. But why? If the goal was simply to hide treasure, why bury it so deep? Why surround it with so many layers of protection? And why make sure no one could ever reach it again? As the hatch was slowly lifted, a powerful blast of icy air rushed out from below. Experts believe that kind of airflow is a strong sign of a long-sealed underground chamber. Even more unsettling, previous ground scans detected an enormous metallic mass beneath the surface, between 7 and 9 times denser than the surrounding soil. Whatever was hidden below wasn't part of the natural landscape. Rick Lagina didn't celebrate. He didn't speak. He simply stared into the darkness. Anyone who has followed the Oak Island mystery knows that when Rick goes completely silent, something extraordinary has happened. Within minutes, theories spread across the site. Was it connected to the Knights Templar, a forgotten religious relic, a hidden archive, or evidence that was never meant to be discovered? Because if what lies beneath this hatch is genuine, it won't just rewrite the story of Oak Island, it could force historians to rethink an entire chapter of human history. Before we open this 220-year-old mystery, take a second to subscribe and turn on notifications. If this secret is finally uncovered, you won't want to miss a single moment. This isn't just another treasure hunt. It's the moment a legend may finally become reality. The first, look at a 220-year-old hatch. As layers of soil were carefully cleared away, something unexpected began to emerge from beneath the earth. Instead of finding a simple wooden covering, the excavation team uncovered a massive hatch crafted from thick, aged timber. Every inch of it carried the unmistakable scars of time. The wood had turned almost black. Deep cracks ran across its surface, and packed earth clung tightly to it, suggesting it had been intentionally buried and left untouched for centuries. The ground surrounding the structure immediately caught the team's attention. Unlike the loose soil nearby, this area was noticeably harder and more compact, almost as though it had been reinforced on purpose. Along the edges of the hatch were heavy iron bands, now covered in rust but still remarkably intact. Rather than serving as decoration, these metal braces appeared to be designed to keep the hatch firmly locked in place. Old iron nails and traces of what looked like sealing material strengthened the impression that this entrance had been secured with extraordinary care. It quickly became obvious that this was nothing like an ordinary door. A normal entrance is built to be opened and closed with ease. This hatch was the complete opposite. Its enormous weight and reinforced construction meant it could only be moved using specialized equipment and the coordinated effort of an entire excavation crew. Every detail, from the thickness of the timber to the strength of the iron and the depth at which it rested, suggested that its builders expected it to endure enormous pressure, invading groundwater, and the passage of centuries. Even more remarkable was its condition. Oak Island has produced countless discoveries over the years, yet no structure of this kind had ever survived in such a complete state. While many wooden features uncovered on the island had deteriorated long ago, this hatch remained almost perfectly preserved, giving the unsettling impression that someone had intended for it to stay hidden until the right moment in history. What carbon dating revealed. To learn more about its origins, researchers carefully removed a small fragment of the wood and sent it for laboratory analysis. The technique they relied on was carbon dating, a scientific method used to estimate the age of organic materials by measuring changes in radioactive carbon over time. When the laboratory results finally arrived, they stunned everyone involved. The test placed the timber in the early 19th century, making the hatch approximately 220 years old. That finding immediately raised an even bigger mystery. During that era, there were no modern drilling machines, hydraulic equipment, or advanced construction technology. Yet, someone had managed to build and bury an incredibly strong structure at a depth that would have challenged even modern engineers. The results also sparked questions about who could have carried out such an ambitious project. Around the early 1800s, Oak Island was isolated and difficult to access. It wasn't a destination for ordinary visitors. Reaching it required determination, resources, and a clear purpose. Whether they were experienced sailors, wealthy merchants, military personnel, or members of a secret organization, whoever came here clearly wasn't on a casual journey. They arrived with the intention of hiding something important. Perhaps the most significant conclusion from the carbon dating was that this discovery couldn't be dismissed as a modern hoax or a recent construction. It confirmed that the hatch was part of a carefully planned operation carried out more than 2 centuries ago. And when people invest that much effort to conceal something for generations, it suggests that whatever lies beneath is far more valuable than ordinary treasure. Why was it sealed so carefully? This is where the mystery grows even deeper. The biggest question isn't simply what lies beneath the hatch. It's why someone went to such extraordinary lengths to protect it. If the goal had only been to hide gold or silver, there would have been far easier ways to do it. History is full of buried treasures, but very few were hidden beneath reinforced wooden hatches secured with iron and buried so deeply underground. Every detail points toward careful planning. The heavy timber, rusted iron bands, hardened soil, and exceptional craftsmanship all suggest that the builders weren't just hiding something, they were protecting it, almost as if they expected future generations to search for it and wanted to make reaching it as difficult as possible. The depth itself is another puzzle. Excavating to such levels over 220 years ago would have required enormous manpower, significant financial resources, and advanced engineering knowledge for that period. This wasn't the work of ordinary individuals. It likely demanded the support of people with wealth, influence, or both. That possibility has fueled speculation for decades. Some researchers believe the hidden chamber may contain far more than precious metals. It could hold forgotten knowledge, historical records, religious artifacts, or evidence considered too dangerous or controversial to reveal during its own time. If that theory is true, sealing the chamber wasn't simply about protecting valuables, it was about protecting a secret, a blast of cold air from the darkness. The instant the hatch began to open, a powerful stream of icy air rushed upward from the chamber below. It wasn't the kind of airflow anyone expected. The excavation crew immediately recognized that this was far from ordinary. An empty hole beneath the ground doesn't produce such a sudden burst of cold air. To the experts on site, the explanation was clear. The chamber below had likely remained sealed for an incredibly long time. In scientific terms, this happens because of a pressure difference. Air trapped inside a closed space develops different pressure and temperature conditions from the atmosphere outside. Once the seal is broken, the trapped air escapes all at once. That single moment revealed something important. It suggested that the space beneath the hatch had remained isolated from the outside world for years, perhaps even centuries. On Oak Island, that's not just an interesting observation, it's a serious warning sign. Several crew members immediately called for operations to pause. Opening a long-sealed chamber always carries risks. Dangerous gases, oxygen-deficient air, or sudden changes in underground water pressure can threaten everyone nearby. Before moving forward, safety inspections had to be completed. For the specialists examining the site, the cold air was one of the strongest indications yet that a sealed chamber existed below. If the hatch had covered nothing more than ordinary soil or an empty cavity, this dramatic reaction wouldn't have occurred. Instead, it reinforced the growing belief that the hatch wasn't simply protecting a hole in the ground, it was guarding something deliberately hidden. The ground scans had already raised the alarm. Long before anyone attempted to lift the hatch, the team had spent months studying the area with advanced underground scanning equipment. One result stood out above all the others. Metal density analysis detected an unusually large concentration beneath the surface. According to the data, the readings were between 7 and 9 times higher than what would normally be expected in natural soil. That immediately raised eyebrows. Every type of soil and rock has a predictable density, but these readings didn't match any known natural formation. The numbers suggested the presence of a massive metallic object buried underground. At first, some researchers wondered if the equipment had detected an unusual rock formation. However, geologists quickly dismissed that possibility. Nature doesn't normally produce such a concentrated metal signature in one isolated location, especially beneath Oak Island. The evidence couldn't simply be ignored. Instead, the scans pointed towards something heavy, solid, and intentionally placed beneath the surface. When investigators combined those results with the burst of cold air escaping from below, the mystery became even more compelling. It was becoming increasingly difficult to believe that only ordinary soil lay beneath the island. Every clue pointed toward a carefully protected secret waiting to be uncovered. Is it really treasure, or something much bigger? Whenever people hear the name Oak Island, they immediately imagine gold coins, priceless jewels, and hidden treasure chests. But the evidence surrounding this hatch hints at a much more complicated story. If someone had wanted to hide only gold or silver, why create such an elaborate system? Why bury it so deeply? Why reinforce it with thick timber, iron supports, and what appears to be an airtight seal? Those questions have led many researchers toward a different possibility. Some believe the chamber may contain rare manuscripts, historical records, or documents that have never been seen by the modern world. Others suggest religious artifacts may have been hidden there to protect them during periods of conflict. Then there are even more controversial theories. According to some historians, the chamber could contain knowledge that powerful people wanted erased from history, information capable of challenging governments, religious institutions, or long-accepted historical accounts. History has shown that valuable objects aren't the only things buried beneath the earth. Sometimes ideas, evidence, and dangerous truths are hidden as well. That's why many researchers believe Oak Island represents far more than a search for treasure. It may be the search for a secret considered too powerful to reveal. The connection to the Knights Templar. No discussion about Oak Island is complete without mentioning the Knights Templar. For decades, their name has been closely linked with the island's greatest mysteries. The Templars were one of history's wealthiest and most influential military orders. Beyond their riches, legends claim they protected sacred relics, confidential documents, and knowledge that few outsiders were allowed to see. Historical records also suggest they possessed advanced seafaring abilities and maintained ships capable of traveling long distances. Because of that, some researchers believe the Templars may have crossed the Atlantic centuries ago, choosing the remote shores of Oak Island as the perfect place to hide their greatest secrets. The order had a long history of protecting more than treasure. Ancient maps, religious relics, confidential writings, and valuable records were often hidden in carefully selected locations that few people could ever reach. When researchers compare those stories with Oak Island's underground tunnels, engineered flood systems, and now the discovery of this mysterious hatch, the similarities become difficult to ignore. Could this hatch represent the final barrier protecting one of the Templars' greatest secrets? If that possibility were ever proven, the discovery would extend far beyond Oak Island. It could become one of the most extraordinary archaeological finds in modern history. Could religious or political secrets be hidden below? Another theory is even more controversial. Some historians argue that whatever lies beneath Oak Island may have little to do with wealth and everything to do with information. Throughout history, important evidence has often been hidden whenever it threatened powerful institutions or challenged accepted beliefs. According to one theory, the chamber could contain religious relics or ancient documents capable of raising difficult questions about historical events that have long been accepted as fact. If such discoveries were ever authenticated, they could force scholars to reconsider parts of history that many people have taken for granted. Others focus on the political implications. Some believe the chamber could preserve forgotten treaties, secret records, or evidence involving powerful empires and hidden alliances. Discoveries like those wouldn't simply attract historians. They could reshape how entire nations understand their own past. Whether any of these theories are true remains unknown. But one fact continues to stand out. The extraordinary depth, reinforced construction, and painstaking effort used to seal this chamber all suggest that someone desperately wanted its contents to remain hidden. Perhaps that's why Oak Island has remained more than just a mysterious island. It has become one of history's most tightly guarded secrets. The hidden danger of flood tunnels and underground traps. The deadly flood tunnel system. Among all the mysteries surrounding Oak Island, nothing has earned a more dangerous reputation than its legendary flood tunnels. These underground passages are believed to have been engineered as a defensive system. If anyone digs in the wrong location or breaks into the chamber incorrectly, seawater can rush through the tunnels and flood the excavation within minutes. This wasn't designed to protect people. It appears to have been built to protect whatever was hidden below. Throughout Oak Island's long history, several excavation attempts have reportedly been interrupted or destroyed by sudden flooding. Years of work have vanished beneath rising water, leaving researchers to start over again and again. That's why today's team moves with extreme caution. Before every shovel touches the ground, specialists perform detailed scans, structural analysis, and multiple safety inspections. Nothing is rushed. One wrong decision could destroy months of progress or place lives in immediate danger. The existence of these flood tunnels strongly suggests careful planning rather than a natural geological feature. Every obstacle seems to point toward one conclusion. Someone wanted to make absolutely certain that the chamber beneath would remain untouched. And that's one of the biggest reasons Oak Island continues to be regarded as one of the world's most mysterious archaeological puzzles. The pressure on the team continues to grow. As the excavation pushed forward, the mood across the site changed completely. The relaxed conversations that normally filled the work area slowly disappeared. The laughter stopped. Even casual remarks became rare. Instead, silence settled over the team as everyone focused on the task ahead. You could see the tension without anyone saying a word. Workers exchanged serious glances. Faces hidden beneath hard hats were covered in sweat. Deep breaths became more frequent as every person understood the same reality. This was no longer an ordinary excavation. Beneath them could be unstable tunnels, hidden flood systems, dangerous gases, collapsing ground, or unknown obstacles waiting to be triggered. No one could afford a careless mistake. Every movement was calculated. Every decision was discussed. Every tool was used with absolute precision. The psychological burden was just as heavy as the physical work. The team wasn't simply digging through layers of earth. They were standing on the edge of a discovery that could reshape history itself. Everyone knew that one successful breakthrough could make history, but one wrong move could end the entire mission forever. What happens if the truth is finally revealed? The greatest mystery isn't only what's hidden underground. It's what happens if the secret finally reaches the surface. History has shown that major discoveries often force people to rethink everything they believe they knew. If Oak Island were to produce evidence supporting entirely new historical conclusions, textbooks around the world might require major revisions. Some researchers have even suggested that such a discovery could reshape accepted timelines of exploration and early contact with North America. If evidence emerged that challenged long-held historical narratives, generations of historical interpretation could face intense scrutiny. For those who spent decades searching for answers, it would be the reward of a lifetime. But for others, it could raise difficult questions about why certain possibilities were ignored, dismissed, or left unexplored. That is why Oak Island has become much more than a local mystery. Its impact could reach far beyond one island and into the wider story of human history. Every shovel of earth removed isn't just uncovering soil. It may be uncovering forgotten chapters of the past. Perhaps that's exactly why the pressure on the team has become so overwhelming. Is someone trying to slow the search? As the investigation continued, another mystery began attracting attention. Unexpected delays started appearing. New regulations surfaced. Previously approved permits suddenly required additional review. Work that seemed ready to continue was occasionally postponed at the last possible moment. Sometimes environmental concerns were cited. Other times, safety requirements became the reason. Each explanation may have been legitimate on its own, but the repeated interruptions naturally led some observers to wonder whether there was more to the story. History contains many examples of discoveries facing resistance when they challenged accepted ideas or powerful institutions. Whenever new evidence threatens established beliefs, controversy often follows. That possibility has fueled another theory surrounding Oak Island. If the island truly contains evidence capable of changing historical understanding, some speculate that certain people or organizations might prefer those secrets to remain hidden. It may be the moment when one of history's oldest mysteries is finally brought into the light.